Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Tabitha Russell, affectionately known as the Money Makeover Mogul. Today, I would like to share with you a simple truth about the flow factor and how faith and focus unlock the millionaire stream. I know that God never intended for you to chase money. He designed you to carry the flow. And what does that mean? That means that you have to align yourself with the call, the purpose, and the design for your life. So I want to share with you a simple confession that surprises most people that there was a time in my life where I had the house, the cars, the comfort, the lifestyle, the version of success that looked good on the outside and sound impressive at family gatherings. But then, of course, you already know the end result, right? I lost it. The house, the cars, the comfort, the familiar version of who I thought I was. And here's the part that still shakes people when I say it. Losing it was the greatest financial blessing I've ever received. That's right. That sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? Because what I lost externally forced me to build something internally that could never be taken away again. The vision, the discipline, and the strategy, as well as the purpose and the authority that I've been given, oh, it's still there. It never was lost. I didn't lose my future. I lost my illusion of security. So today, under the theme, I want to talk about more or go in depth with receiving the millionaire flow. And so I came to make one thing clear that sometimes the flow doesn't start with increase. It doesn't start in your bank account and it doesn't start with cash flow in your pocket. Sometimes it starts with interruption. That's right. Many of you have been going through challenge after challenge, and you've been wondering and questioning why. Why am I going through this? Why do I have to suffer? Why do I have to take the long route? Well, I know sometimes that's intentional. And for many of us, it allows us to build back a foundation that cannot be broken. So for us, comfort can be the most expensive thing that you'll ever pay for. Comfort is seductive. Oh, it's super cute. Comfort whispers, you're safe right here, right? Comfort convinces you not to retool, rethink, or realign. It wants you to stay right there. And comfort also kills capacity, right? The person that you're called to be. Sometimes we lose focus on the stretch of going to that next level and what that may look like. I didn't lose my house because I was irresponsible. I lost it because my next level required a new foundation. How about that, right? Some of you are praying for overflow, but heaven is trying to interrupt patterns that would bankrupt your future, right? You would lose it even before you got there. I heard something recently that really allowed me to really think about where it is exactly that we get lost. And for many of us, oh, it starts off real fast and everything is going good. And you can see the finish line a far a ways down the road. However, somewhere in the middle, you seemingly lose what it is that you're trying to get to. You lose your focus, you lose your drive, and for some, you even lose your confidence. But here's a truth we don't talk about. What got you here will not keep you here. Like people, they see the success today. But for some, they don't know the story of how I got here. They don't know the story of how I had to rebuild all over again and how each and every day that I get up and I'm intentional about investing in me and doing self-development. So millionaire flow cannot be built on old habits, on old fears that you may have, old thinking, old emotional spending, or old unexplained trauma or unexamined trauma as well. Sometimes God will let the old model collapse because the soil underneath, it was never designed for legacy. And can I just say that this is the time that if we haven't set ourselves on building generational legacies, then this is the time that we can do so. So, loss and losing things is not the punishment. Many times, loss is just repositioning us for something better. So, I want to talk about who you become in the reset determines how you receive in the rebuild. For many of us, we don't like the reset because, it's not fashionable, right? There's nobody in our corners pushing us on. And so when everything fell apart, I had to face questions, comfort that had protected me from who am I without the title, right? Those questions that come up. Who am I without the applause? And who am I without the assets? And that's when purpose stopped being poetic and it became personal. I realized I had mastered survival. Like, you know how some of us do, we rob Peter to pay Paul. And then when we get past that, oh, we floss out because we got an extra few coins, right? But I had not yet mastered structure. And so, in the reset and in the realignment, it allowed me to now go back and put things into the foundation that initially was not there. You see, when I made the decision and lost everything, nobody told me that my contract needed a contract. They didn't tell me that I needed a lawyer on my staff or an accountant in my back pocket. Those are the things that I had to learn along the way. So I had built the income, but I had not yet built the systems, right? Where we check behind the checker, where we make sure that everything is in place as it's supposed to be. I had proven resilience, but I had not yet built reputable wealth discipline. And this is where the millionaire flow truly began. It wasn't with the money. It wasn't with the house and the cars, but it was with mastery. I quite often tell my clients that if you're going to be the best that there is in your niche, you have to master it. You need to know everything that there is about your particular niche. And once you get there, stay in your lane and be okay with even referring things out that is not your specialty because many of times we hear that we are jack of all trades but masters of none. Why is that? Because we want to do everything. And sometimes we just need to take a step back and allow ourselves to be good right where we are and then let everything else go to somebody else because it's enough out here for all of us to be successful. And as we are walking in our places of success, we get the opportunity to now help somebody else along their journey because money does not follow ambition. Money follows identity alignment. So, knowing who you are, knowing the people that you serve is what helps you along your journey into the millionaire flow. Faith doesn't prevent loss. Can I just say that? It governs the recovery, though. It helps you along the way. Now, I didn't quit when I lost everything. I recalibrated. So faith didn't mean that I avoided pain at all. Faith meant that pain did not have permission to define me. Can I just say that sometimes we give ourselves permission to make up excuses, permissions to say why we're not going to do a thing. And that could be the very thing that's going to help deliver a lot of people. I mean, your product, your service could be the next best thing that people are waiting for, that they will line up and spend hours in line just to get the opportunity to have your product or your service in their wheelhouse, right? So I learned how to build business without the emotional spending. I learned how to lead without needing validation. I learned how to budget without fear, invest without panic, and teach others from scars and not theory. So here is where the shift became undeniable. What broke me emotionally began to build others strategically. Now, that sounded real good to me. So I'm going to say it again. What broke me emotionally began to build others strategically. My loss became my assignment. My recovery became my authority, and my reset became somebody else's breakthrough. That's why I am so passionate about financial literacy today. That's why I am passionate about building multiple streams of income as well as creating generational wealth. That is not one, 3 or 5 million, because you can mess that up real quick. I'm talking about 10, 50, $100 million and more, because that's what you start to get into when we talk about generational wealth. So the millionaire flow is not always released as cash. Sometimes it's released as clarity that pays you for a lifetime and generations to come. But you got to make sure that you're in proper alignment and you have the structure and the systems in place. So see the things that you're going through, the downfall that you may be having right now, the challenges that you're going through. Can I just say that that is by design for many of you, right? Because you need to make sure that you shore up your foundation so that as you go forward, that you'll have things in place that will help you on your journey to success. I know that stewardship is built in the season no one applauds. Let me talk to the builders in their unseen season, right? For those of you that are going through right now, that you can identify with some of the things that I've been talking about today, the ones budgeting and nobody sees it, the ones that studying while nobody is clapping for them or cheering for them in the background, the ones that's rebuilding privately. Stewardship isn't always sexy. It's quiet, it's repetitive, it's disciplined, and it's often lonely. But stewardship is what turns income into infrastructure. It also allows you to take vision and turn it into vehicles, and your calling, oh, into companies, and purpose, yes, into multiple platforms. So I learned to love cash flow statements. I learned to love systems and automations, strategy, economic literacy for sure, right? And for some who may not be in tune with economic literacy, it is financial literacy, right? Learning how to make my check-ins and my savings talk to each other, right? Because wealth is not spiritual chaos. Wealth is organized multiplication. And in this season, oh yeah, I want my commas and my zeros to have some babies, and I want them to have some cousins to go along with it, right? I just didn't recover. I refounded my life, like really turned some things around. I didn't come back to just a comfortable lifestyle. I came back to legacy alignment. Now, my work doesn't just inspire, motivate, and entertain. It awakens people to purpose. It arms them with strategy. It activates them for ownership, and it literally liberates them from financial ignorance. My loss built a new foundation, a new authority, and a new assignment. What about you? What are you going to do in your season where everything is not going the way that you planned, where nobody's cheering for you, and where you seem like that nobody cares? What are you going to do about it? I just don't um, help people make money. I help them survive storms without losing their identity. This is where you have to harness that boldness that you have on the inside. You have to really dig deep to understand who you are and whose you are. So if you're in a season where things feel uncertain, your resources feel tight, your support feels light, and your forward motion feels slow, let me say this over you with precision. You're not being drowned or crowded out. You're being built underground. You know how when a seed goes into the ground, that seed literally has to die to itself, meaning that it has to shed all of the weight and then it has to come out of its comfort zone. And as it is growing, it's developing and nobody can see what's going on. So those of us who sow into the ground, we trust that things are going to happen that we're going to be able to benefit from the harvest. But can I just say that in your down season right now, take the time to do what's necessary in order for you to develop into who it is that you're called to be, to go and position yourself to be able to help the nations, to carry the millionaire flow, to allow the streams of blessings to come from you. There are people that are waiting on you, that are looking right now, trying to figure out what their next move is. They need somebody that can help them with their health and wellness. They need someone that's going to help them with their financial literacy or their mindset, someone that's going to help get them back on track. And can I just say, that could be you. So go through your go through season, whatever that may be, but be intentional about the rebuild. Be intentional about the things that you need to work on today. There doesn't have to be no fancy announcement. There doesn't have to be where you're going off and you're telling people, "Oh, guess what I've done and look at me now." Right? People will be able to see the difference and they'll see the change. And so I want to encourage you that the underground seasons always produce above ground overflow. The millionaire flow doesn't come to those who look rich. It comes to those who are internally structured for the increase. The people that have worked on those that need to become the person who can steward that next season in their lives, right? So today I declare that you will not suffer great in your loss, that you're going to benefit from it, even though you don't see the turnaround right now. You will not drown in the transition and you will not stall in your rebuilding because I declare on today that your faith will multiply, your focus will sharpen, your stewardship, oh, it will mature, and your purpose will awaken. Why? Because you were built for such a time as this. I know that you're right on track and you're on the cusp of something super amazing. So do not give up in your well doing and do not grow weary even in that, right? Because you will reap if you faint not, right? And I'm going to take it a step further and I'm going to say that you're going to reap when you faint not, when you don't give up because some of us give up right in the middle of our breakthrough, right? Our breakthrough is just 1 to 2 steps away. And if we can hang in there long enough to get through it, we'll get to the other side. So this is your encouragement. This is your wake up call to say, you're almost there. Put in the work and just do whatever it is necessary in order for you to be able to get to the next level. And can I just say, hang in there long enough that you make it now a habit, you make it a lifestyle, that you develop yourself each and every day because every new level, yeah, you already know what they say. That something else comes along with it that tries to deter you off the course of where it is that you're going. However, with you being intentional and working on your self development, there is nothing that you can not do, right? You'll continue to keep growing on a regular basis. And when the flow comes back, it will not be fragile. So this time you would have learned some things. You would have shored up your foundation enough. So It will also not be accidental, but this time your structure will be architected and it will be built for such a time as this, because what God builds the second time, he builds it to last. And for some of you, it may be the third, the fourth, or the fifth time. Whatever that number is to you, just continue to keep going, continue to hang in there. And when you find that you've done all that you can do, the word tells us to stand therefore, right? Stand in your truth, stand in your power, stand in your authenticity. And if necessary, get somebody that's going to hold you accountable, that's going to help you to achieve your next level. Because some of us, we've already done all the things that we know how to do, and we're the best versions of ourselves right now, today, without any help. So if you've exhausted your areas of all the things that you've done on your own, reach out to someone that can help you. And I thank you so much for allowing me to be able to share with you the flow factor, as well as allowing you to give you some things that's going to help you to shore up your foundation on how faith and focus unlock the millionaire stream. My name is Dr. Tabatha Russell, and you can reach me on my website at drtabitharussell.com, as well as on all social media platforms at I am Dr. Tabatha. Thank you so much.